Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Ruth Munroe again coming to you on the ground in Nairobi, Kenya. And of course, right behind me you have seen is the Westgate Mall. It is the mall of the site of the tragedy where so many lives were taken, but also many lives survived. It is also a place where I think religion that is negatively perpetrated has manifested itself in the most horrific way. It shows you the power of religion, how religion can actually become a dangerous weapon in the hands of those who don't understand the love of God. Westgate Mall will always be known as the place of tragedy in Kenya. I visited the hospital where some of the victims were recently. I spoke with the hospital administrator, the chairman of the hospital board, some of the nurses. I visited some of those who were still recuperating. And I'm telling you, this is traumatic. It is my hope and prayer that we will never experience this kind of horrific experience again anywhere in the world. Kenya is a resilient country. It's a beautiful nation. 43 million people live in this nation. And Nairobi, Kenya itself has every day about 3 million people living in it or working here. And we are here visiting with some of the leaders in the community, wonderful pastors, wonderful leaders in business. We're having meetings here with government leaders and business and corporate executives and working with some of the pastors. And one of the things I understood is that Nairobi is just like the Bahamas. It's incredible. They were former British colony, of course, and they themselves, of course, have gone through their independence. They celebrate 50 years of independence this year, and we are here to celebrate with them. And tonight I'll be, of course, speaking with some of the government leaders. The Vice President of the country will be there, expected to be there, along with members of the government cabinet. And there's so many things going on in Kenya at the moment. But this mall, I think, has been the centerpiece for most of our global concern of Kenya. I want to say that security is almost back to normal. It's a very peaceful country. No one is actually here thinking about what's going on verbally, but you can feel that people feel great sorrow. I just saw a photograph of an 8-year-old girl who was shot at the tragedy in this mall behind me. 8-year-old. We've got pictures of a couple who was about to be married. They never quite saw their wedding. Both were killed in the tragedy in the mall behind me. The stories are so amazing. And I spoke to a young man in the hospital who was shot in his chest and in his knee and the bottom of his feet, and he survived. But his sister, who was with him, was killed. He has to go through his own recuperation, but also deal with the loss of his own sister. Standing next to him was his mother, and I didn't know how to even comfort her. She's watching her son in the bed recuperating, buried a daughter, and she's having to deal with a cousin who also survived, and just so much tragedy. But in the midst of all of this, there is a God. And we are here to bring comfort to Kenya, to bring support to the leadership, and to also provide our spiritual support for the churches here. Ruth, what's on your mind? What do you think about this?
I'm just thinking about when you was talking, about tragedy bringing unity. And I think that is what I can see here, that this tragedy brought unity to Kenya. And also when the hospital administrator was talking about taking blood was taken from everybody. Mm-hmm. So you don't know whose blood is in your body. And that in itself shows that out of what they thought was going to be a downfall for Kenya, God is going to raise up a city that will almost be like a light on the top of a mountain. Mm-hmm. So I believe that from now, Kenya is going to see unity within its borders, and people now will love and show that love for one another.
I think we all feel the same way. Out of crisis comes some of the greatest unity in the world. I want to thank you for joining us again. We'll be back in a minute with some more reports.